Welcome to SciPro Math. In this video, we'll be demonstrating how to solve quadratic equations using SciPro Math. The first thing we'll have to do to be able to solve quadratic equations is to access the area of the calculator that contains these equations. To do so, you will have to press first the third function key right there. You will see how the menu changes all of a sudden, but in addition, you will have to also press the fifth function key. And you'll notice how the menu changes again because each combination of functions will give you access to a different screen of the calculator. Okay, so this is the area of where you have quadratic equations, and I'm going to press where quadratic equations are right there. You will see there is already a quadratic equation here, which is 1x squared plus 0x plus 0. Okay, our job will be to change the coefficients of this equation to be able to enter an equation of our liking. Okay, I could actually go ahead and evaluate the equation that is already there. You see how I can evaluate it. 4 give me 16. 4 to the second power will be 16. I could actually go back to the value I evaluated by saying the inverse of the equation, which is cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear this, and I will put another equation of my liking inside the calculator. I will leave the first value the same, which is 1x squared, but in the second value, instead of 0, I am going to change that value to 5. Okay, so I'm going to say press 5. Then that's the first thing I do. I press the value that I want to transfer. Then I go ahead and press the value transfer function. The value function keys is at the very top, on top of the all clear. You see how it changes colors when I press it. I have the value on Q to be stored somewhere, and the place where I'm going to store it is in this button right here. Okay, so that then I have, instead of 0, I have a 5x. So I have 1x, 5x, and then at the last button, the last value of the calculator, the last coefficient, I would like that to be 36. So to do so, I will first have to press 36 negative, which is 36. I will change the value of it. The sign of it, I will press again the value transfer function, and I will press where the destination of where I wanted to store it is right here. So as you notice, I have a brand new equation inside here, which is 1x squared, 5x, and negative 36. With this equation in there, first of all, the equation, even when I press all clear, is not gonna delete the equation. The equation is already inside the calculator. Okay, I will show you later how you actually can clear the equation and all the contents in one single blow. Okay, so with the equation in there, then if I press, first of all, the discriminant key, you will see I have the value of the discriminant. If I want the value of the first x, I press the x number 1, okay, x2, x squared, the first answer. Since it doesn't have any imaginary value, so it would not have an imaginary value to it. So you see how an imaginary value has a real part in an imaginary part. In this case, the first solution does not have an imaginary value, so it's just going to be 4. If you do want to test to prove that this is actually a 0 solution of the calculator, all you have to do is evaluate the value, and you will see how it should give you 0, because it actually is a 0. So the first solution to the calculator is 4. The second solution is actually negative 9. If I were to press to test whether or not this is actually a 0, I just evaluate it and I get a value. Okay, I can evaluate any value I want. For example, I can evaluate 1. See? Really cool. So let me clear this. So I have a solution number 1, solution number 2, There's no imaginary solutions. I have the discriminant. I also have access to the vertex of the equation. To get the vertex, all I have to do is vertex x gives me the x value of vertex, and vertex y gives me the y value of vertex, which is really cool. Also, using this, once the calculator is in here, I could actually very easily make a table of values. For example, if I want to make a table of values, I would, for example, if I have 1 and I wanted to evaluate it, I'll get the y value that the equation produces. Okay. If I have let's say number 2 and I want to get the evaluated, all I have to do is press this value, this j of x, and it will give me the y value to it. If I wanted to evaluate number 3, I go ahead and do the same thing. And if I wanted to evaluate number 4, I do the same, and so forth, and so forth. It's a really, really, really powerful way to evaluate equations. Not only can you actually evaluate equations, you can get also the inverses of this equation. Not just one inverse, but actually, since you know that a quadratic equation produces 2 values for each y value, 2 values of x, okay, you have access to both values of x, okay. So let's say, for example, that I evaluated number 5 using the equation, the evaluator, and I have the answer 14. If I were to press the inverse, the first inverse, I go back to the 5 that I entered to get the 14. Look what happens when I press and evaluate the 5 again. In fact, I'm going to clear it and do it again. 5. If I were to press the second inverse, which is at the very top of the first inverse, I get number 10. That is the second value that, when evaluated, produces as an answer 14. And I'm going to demonstrate so, because I will have to evaluate it again to actually get 14. Once again, not only negative 10 produces the 14, but also 5 produces the 14. Which is amazing to have access to both inverses of any value given. Now, having said this, this is all there is about quadratic equations. It's quite a lot. It's very, very powerful to have access to all of this information. Once you enter a quadratic equation inside this calculator, you could actually change the values to any quadratic equation. It'll always give you the answer. In addition, if I wanted to clear the contents of all these cells, I could, first of all, write over them. And second of all, I could actually go ahead and just press the reset button. And if you go back to the equation, the information is no longer there. All right. So this is all there is about solving quadratic equations. I hope you enjoy this amazing feature of SciPro Math. This is here to help you, to rescue you from dismal land, because that's what how it feels when you don't know how to solve these equations. You should also know how to solve them manually, but if you do not remember how to solve them manually, SciPro Math will remind you that you can actually solve it. SciPro Math will not forget. Okay? Thank you very much. I hope you continue to enjoy SciPro Math. There's a lot more that I need to cover, but this is all there is about quadratic equations. Enjoy the power of SciPro Math.